everybody, it's Miss Grant coming at you for day 2 of distance learning. We're gonna change how this video is being recorded. I hope you guys can see my work a little better this way. So today's lesson is 8.5. We're doing an 8.5 lesson in between 8 and 9, reviewing percentages of numbers. So let's go ahead and start. The warm-up. You're completing the following tables, so the percent matches the decimal, that matches the fraction. All of these need to be equivalent. We have a little hint. To turn a fraction into a decimal, you divide the numerator, the top number, by the denominator, the bottom. Okay, so we have our percent, 239%. I would like to turn that into a decimal and a fraction. Well, to go from a percent to a decimal, all you need to do is divide by 100. So 239 divided by 100 is 2.39, 239 hundredths. Now I need a fraction. Well, remember when we talked about what a percent is, percent per 100. That means this number out of 100. So I'm actually going to take my percent, put it over 100. So 239 over 100. Okay, go ahead. I would like you to try the rest of the table, take 5 minutes, and then come back to this video. All right, so now we have a decimal. If going from a percent to a decimal, we divide by 100, we need to now undo that. We need to do the opposite of dividing by 100. So the opposite of dividing by 100 is multiplying by 100. So I'm going to take 127 thousandths, 0.127. I'm going to multiply by 100. I'm going to get 12.7, 12 7 tenths. That is my percent. Okay, now I'm going to turn this into a fraction. Remember, just take your percent and put it over 100. So 12.7 out of 100. Now we have our fraction, so this takes us back to our hint. We need to take the numerator, the top number 1, and divide it by the denominator, the bottom number 200. So 1 divided by 200 is 5 thousandths, 0.005. So I'm going to put that down as my decimal. And now we want to go from our decimal to our percent. So to that, we're going to take 5 thousandths. And I'm going to multiply it by 100. Okay. I'm going to get 5 tenths. Yes, that is correct. That is my percent. I'm going to get half of a percent as my answer. Okay. So now we have our percent. Turn it into a decimal by dividing by 100. Okay, I'm going to get 0 and 65 thousandths, or 0.065. And now I need to turn this into a fraction. Take my decimal, or I'm sorry, not my decimal, take my percent and put it over 100. Okay. Make sure you have this. Okay, so let's go ahead. Double number line review. Elena biked 8 miles on Saturday. I'm going to complete the double number line to answer these questions. So first, I need to figure out where to put 8 on my number line. 8 is my original value. It's my starting value. Since Elena biked 8 miles on Saturday, then 100% of her Saturday distance is 8 miles. Okay, so I'm put 8 over my 100%. That is my whole. Now, I'm going to try and finish the rest of my number line. So to figure out what I need to count by, I'm going to look from 0 to 8 and see how many pieces they divided the line into, and then I'm going to divide 8 by that. So they divided it into 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces. Since they divided the line into 4 pieces, I'm going to divide 8 by 4. 8 divided by 4 is 2, so I'm going to count by 2. So this is going to be 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. So now I can answer questions 2 and 3. On Sunday, she biked 75% of her Saturday distance. So 75% would be 6 miles. On Monday, she biked 125% of her Saturday distance. So 125% is going to give me 10 miles. Okay. I hope that was pretty easy. Just a review. Finding percent in a ratio table review. So, during a sale, every item in a store is 20% off its regular price. So, I need to find my price off and my sale price for the 5 prices given here. So, to find 20% of a number, to find a percent of a number, I'm going to take that percent and multiply it by the price given to me. Well, 20% is 0.2 as a decimal. Remember, to turn it into a decimal, I divide by 100. Okay. So since I'm trying to find 20% of 1, I'm going to do 1 times 20%, or 2/10. And I'm going to get 0.2 for that. I need this in money terms. So obviously 0.2 does not have really much to do with money. However, this would be 20 cents in money terms. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and do the rest. So 4 times 2/10, 10 times 2/10, 55 times 2/10, and 120 times 2/10. So 4 times 2/10 is 0.8 or 80 cents. 10 times 0.2, ooh. Yeah, I'm sorry. 10 times 0.2 is 2. So $2. 55 times 0.2 is 11, or $11. And last but not least, 120 times 0.2 is 24. So now finding the sale price. Well, we can find this one of 2 ways. Either we can take our regular price and subtract the amount off, or since I'm taking 20%, so that's my percent off, I would have 80% left over, and 80% is 0.8. So I have 80% of my sales price. So I could do 1 times 0.8. I'm going to get 0.8 or 80 cents. Now, 80 cents makes sense because 20 cents plus the 80 cents is going to give me a full dollar. So again, we could have taken a dollar minus 20 cents and gotten 80 cents, the same answer, which would be my sale price. But I want to practice us multiplying by the percent. It's going to be your easiest way. So now, 4 times 0.8 is 3.2, but again, that doesn't make sense. We need $3.20. $10 times 0.8 is 8, so just $8. 8 plus 2 gives us our 10, so we're on the right track. So now 55 times 0.8. That's 44. Again, 44 plus 11 gives me 55, so that's making sense. And 120 times 8/10 is 96. And 96 plus 24 does give me 120. So all of these make sense. So we could have thought about this two different ways. Just finding the percent off and then taking our regular price and subtracting the percent off, or the price off. Or take our take our regular price, and the sales price is 80% of our regular price. So I could take my regular price times 80%, and that would give me the sale price. Okay. Now we have our school held several evening activities. We're gonna say last year. A music concert, a basketball game, a drama play, and a literacy night. The music concert was attended by 250 people. 250 people. How many people came to each of the other activities? So that is the question we're trying to answer. Okay, so let's look at one. Attendance at a basketball game was 30% of attendance at the concert. So remember, the concert had 250 people. Since the concert had 250 people, I'm trying to find 30% of that. So 30% as a decimal is 0.3. Remember, take that percent, and divide by 100, and that's going to give you your percent as a decimal. So then I'm just going to take 250 times my decimal, I'm going to get 75, so that means 75 people. People attended the concert. Attendance at the drama play was 140% of attendance at the concert. So we went and we increased how many people attended. So I need to turn 140% into a decimal. If I divide by 100, I'm going to get 1.4. So 250 times 1.4. It's going to be 350 people. Okay, last question. Attendance at literacy night was 44% of attendance at the concert. 44% as a decimal is 0.44. So 250 times 0.44 is 110. So 110 people. All right. This should be pretty simple. If you know the percent you're trying to find, you're going to take the original number you have and multiply it by that percent. That's all you have to do to find a percent of a number. So, what is 8% of 83? So 8% as a decimal is 0.08. Remember, take that percent, divide it by 100. Now, I'm trying to find 8% of 83, so I'm going to take 83 and multiply it by my percent. And I'm going to get 6.64. Okay, round to the nearest hundredths place. So this is the hundredths place, so we're good. Now I need to find 37% of what number is 19. So now I don't have that original number. I'm trying to find that original number. So first I'm going to turn 37% into a decimal, which is 0.37. And now I'm gonna set up my equation. So I know that 37% of some number I'm gonna call x is 19. So remember from last year, draw your line to solve your equation. Here's my variable. 37 hundredths is multiplying x. So to undo this multiplying, I need to divide on both sides. So when I divide 19 by 0.37, you'll notice I get 51.351, 351, I'm gonna assume my next number is gonna be a 1 because this is a repeating number. So now I'm gonna have x equals, they want us to round it to the nearest hundredth. So gonna round it to 51.35. So that is my answer. To triple check, I can go ahead and plug 51.35. I can substitute x for the answer we got, and I can make sure that, well, 37% of this number is 19. So I'm actually, in my calculator, I'm going to have my answer. That's what that means. And I'm going to multiply it by 0.37. Hopefully, I get 19. Perfect. So now 13 is what percent of 90? Okay, totally different question now. Now I'm trying to find my percent. I was not given my percent like the last two. So we actually learned a very, very simple way to do this last year. I know that my part out of my whole times 100 equals my percent. So my part is 13. My whole would be 90. Now I need to multiply by 100 and I'll get my percent. So 13 divided by 90 times 100. I'm going to have 14.4 repeating. That 4 just keeps going on forever. So, so that is my answer minus that decimal. Let me rewrite my answer over here. Okay. So my answer is 14.44. Since I'm rounding to the nearest hundredths, I'm going to go ahead and put my repeating bar on. Okay, that was the last task. Let's go ahead and synthesize this lesson. One of the biggest points of this lesson was turning decimals into, was turning percents into decimals. That is probably the biggest thing that we did here. You can see how I turned all of my percents into decimals. We even did it up here with these, and we did it obviously up here. So 2.4% means 2.4 out of 100. This can be written as the fraction 2.4 out of 100 or the decimal 0.024. So how he got that, remember, take your percent, put it over 100. To turn it into a decimal, take your percent, divide it by 100. So how can we write 4.5 as a fraction and a decimal? Fraction's the easiest. Put it over 100. Our decimal, divide it by 100. So that would be my decimal. Okay. All right, guys. now you have a Go Formative. Do not forget to do your Go Formative. That is what I'm grading. So go ahead, do your Go Formative now. Go Formative. Should be Unit 4. Lesson 8.5. Okay. Thank you all. Have a great rest of your day. I will talk to you tomorrow.